All right, so after signing Demaryius Thomas yesterday, guys, John Elway held a news conference, and he said, I'm quoting you one small part of it, the expectations are going to be increased now. What exactly does that mean? Are they asking DT to be more of a vocal leader? Do they expect bigger stats from him? And is that smart to say that about a guy who is as humble and soft-spoken as Demaryius Thomas?
Sure, there's nothing wrong with saying that. I believe all three of us have gotten in positions where we've gotten increases in income, increases in salary. I know you have. I'm sure you have. You were in TV. He's been in newspaper. He's advanced to being a columnist, a national columnist, and he's been in TV, radio. I've gotten more money than I ever thought possible in life. I think the expectations are greater. You are now supposed to step up your game. You're supposed to be better. Jordan Spieth is supposed to step up his game. He's now at the top echelon.
But what does that mean for DT, step up his game? Because the stats are awfully big as they stand.
Okay, you agree with me or disagree?
In Gary Kubiak's offense, we can't expect the stats to be even greater because we can't expect the pace to be greater than what it's been the last couple of years. But this is what you do. I'm glad you cited this quote because it's the first quote in my column in the Denver Post today. This is what it means to me. Now, I can't promise you this is what John Elway meant, but I know what it means to me. Demaryius Thomas has to be the leader of this team in the post-Manning era. Manning will be here 1 year, 2 years. He's not going to be here until he's 45, and this is a 5-year deal. So it has to be his team now. And you asked, is it smart? I like DT. He's a Pro Bowl talent. He's a good dude. He's a teammate that guys like. And he might have a C on his jersey, but he ain't no leader. And that's why I think it's tough. I think that will be the challenge for him. He's going to have to take the losses on his shoulders. I
got to disagree with you.
Okay?
I don't think that's about you have to be a leader. I interpret that to be you've got to be good character. You've got to be a guy that shows up, a guy that plays hard every game, doesn't take a playoff, doesn't have that psyche problem that you're talking about where, oh, I'm dropping balls because I'm not in position. He has got to be a team player. I don't know that. I think Von Miller can be a leader of this team. He kind of lost it when he had the drug issue. Chris Harris is going to be a leader of this team.
Absolutely.
DeMarcus Ware is going to be a leader. Peyton Manning is about all the leadership you need on offense. I don't know that I really want. I think that there are a couple of guys in the offensive line that can be leadership quality type players. I think C.J. Anderson became. Demaryius Thomas's personality doesn't lend itself. I don't know that you can. Ty Lawson wasn't a born leader. He wasn't a created leader.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That
but they tried to force it on him. And some guys are not good vocally, but he does need to lead by example, and he does need to be focused on every play of every game. Unlike what happened last year. I agree with Woody on this. There are other ways to lead. You just can't force it on him.
Okay, and you're hitting exactly where I wanted to go. Ty Lawson can't carry a team. Carmelo Anthony was no leader, though he could hit the big shot. I'm not expecting Demaryius Thomas to stand up and say, come on, boys, follow me. Yeah. And I'm not expecting him to stand in front of his locker after a big loss and explain it to knuckleheads like myself. But I do expect him to put the team on his back and carry it in the playoffs. And for everything I love about Demaryius Thomas, I don't think he's that player. And I have never thought he's been that player. And I think that's his personality, because his personality isn't, I'm going to rip your lungs out and I'm going to beat you. And that's the guy I want to trust to take me to the Super Bowl. And that's why I like Des Bryant better as a wide receiver than Demaryius Thomas, because Des Bryant has more give me the darn ball in him than Demaryius Thomas does.
Let's take a look at the Elway quote. Let's expand on it just a little bit before
we're all getting to a similar.
Yeah,
Yes,
I agree. Here's the Elway quote. We have high expectations. We think he's coming right into his prime, and we don't anticipate him backing up at all. The expectations are going to be increased now, and we just think that he has all the skills.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that I think Spider-Man. Let's go back to the original Spider-Man, and maybe I'm saying it wrong, but with greater powers become greater responsibility.
With great powers come great responsibility.
That you are suddenly Spider-Man. Oh, you got all these powers. You better go out and do stuff that's good stuff. You got all this money. You got all this talent. Now don't screw it up.
Okay, but here's where the only part I disagree with John Elway is this. And I don't expect Elway to say anything different. We just think that he has all the skills. I think he has 19 skills out of 20 or 49 skills out of 50. I think he lacks the killer instinct skill that championship players almost certainly have to have.
Give me an example.
Patrick Waugh, he didn't have the puck on his stick all the time, but he was like, you know what? You ain't beating me.
But that's why I ask you for example. Goaltender, quarterback, point guard.
And you're getting right to my point. That's why you're
catcher.
That's why it's very dangerous to pay any wide receiver $14 million a year, because it's really hard to be that guy. Later in the show, we're going to name the top 6 wide receivers of all time.
Yeah.
And even think about it right now, and everybody listening to us, think about it. Of even the 6 best wide receivers of all time in your mind, how many of those guys would really be the man on a championship football team? I'm not sure even all 6 would be.
No.
Not one.
In fact, I've got a guy on my list who's an absolute pariah, even in his own locker room.
Okay.
Hey, that segment brought to you by the Harmony Foundation, Colorado's premier treatment program for drug and alcohol addiction. It's located right outside of Estes Park. They've got a beautiful, private, 45-acre mountain campus. It is insurance friendly. You can get it done at harmonyfoundationinc.com.